My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 284. One of our favourite new Australian bands of the last few years has been Dulcie, and Ash from the band joins us on the pod today. The Perth trio have been on a stellar run of singles over the last 12 months, with their latest being the brilliant track Off by Heart. Before we get into our chat with Ash, please make sure you subscribe to this podcast and ensure you're following us across all of our social media channels. We've got some surprise episodes this month with some incredible guests, both from Australia and abroad, so please make sure you follow us to stay up to date. Details for all can be found within the show notes of today's episode. Our guest today is Dulcie. The Perth three-piece burst onto the music scene back in 2019 with their single Fall, and have been going from strength to strength ever since. Originally starting out as more of an indie folk kind of outfit, the last 18 months has seen the band, which is comprised of Ashleigh White, Saskia Britton and Tamika Denton, shift to a more hook and pop-focused sound. It's a move that has definitely worked, with one of their more recent singles, Test Drive, take out the grand prize at the WAM Song of the Year Awards in Western Australia. The girls have been touring the country with artists like Ocean Alley, Amy Shark, Spacey Jane, and they're set to take the stage at Spilt Milk Festival across the East Coast later this year. Last month, Dulcie released another brilliant single in the form of Off by Heart, which is a track about putting yourself first and finally acknowledging someone else's excuses. In today's episode, we're talking to Ash from the band about the origins of how they got together. We discuss the brand new single and the streak of great songs that Dulcie has been releasing so far. We also chat about Ash's introduction into songwriting, and in a podcast first, she actually plays us a snippet of her first composition. A lot of respect to Ash. I absolutely love this. Off by Heart. It's out now. And we've left links in the show notes where you can listen to Dulcie's music and find their tour dates. We also want to say a massive thank you to Amber from Beehive PR for her help with today's episode. Here is our conversation with Dulcie.
I should know it off by heart by now. Feel it in my bones somehow. You never learn, just let me down.
Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Ashleigh White from Dulcie. Hello, Ash. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you for your time today. I do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Well, look, honestly, anytime that Dulcie releases new music, we're more than happy to kind of open up the door and have you on the pod. Big fans of the band. We had Sass on previously in support of the EP back in 2021, so I'm glad that we could make something work today.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice to hear. We really appreciate the support.
No, of course. Well, I'm really excited to kind of get into it today. There is a brand new single from Dulcie. It is called Off by Heart. It is out now, and it's a brilliant addition to the output that you girls have been having recently, which I want to touch on in a little bit. But in regards to Off by Heart, this brilliant song kind of didn't start the way that we hear it now, if I've kind of done my research correctly. Is that it initially started as a bit of a ballad?
Kind of come a long way from where it started. So it started out as a very stripped back piano bass kind of ballad song. And then we took it to a few different people and eventually ended up working with Constantine Cursing on it. And we recorded it one way. And then even then the next day he messaged us in the morning, was like, guys, I had a dream last night. We need to completely change the tempo. It's going to be swung. It's like upbeat chorus. And we came in and he'd like been in since the morning, completely redid the session. And at first we were like, oh, I don't know about this, but now we love it. And it's lots of fun. I like the upbeat nature of it now.
Of course. Well, it seems to work quite well. I guess in terms of that process and not shopping the songs around, but having like workshops with different people, how do you find as the creator and lyricist of that song, and it's something that's so dear to you, what's the process like in terms of going and finding the right person? And are there times where you're maybe like a little bit, oh, no, that's not what I do, or that's not us, or that it kind of goes, the other avenue, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like as a songwriter, I'm very open-minded with like collaborating with people. Like I always want to hear other people's ideas and kind of like, many hands make light work kind of thing. You just want as many ideas as you can. And you can kind of figure out what sounds best for the song. But I feel like if it's your song you've written, it's personal to you, then sometimes you can just tell that maybe that idea just isn't what you're envisioning for the song. But I don't know. Well, I never expected it to turn out in this upbeat way, but now it's like I really like it how it is now, So
100%.
Yeah.
Do you think that collaborative nature kind of comes from Dulcie as the entity that it is? I think all three of you were previously songwriters separately and then kind of got together in that capacity.
Totally, yeah. It's a very collaborative process with the band. Like usually it will start off with one of us having a pretty solid idea. Maybe we've come up with a verse or a chorus or like an instrumental bit, and then we'll bring it into the band, kind of workshop it together just in an acoustic kind of way. And then you take it to the production or like into the studio, and then it changes again. So there's like a lot of refining that goes into our music, which is cool.
I love that. I know that yourself and Sass and Tamika, I believe it is.
Yeah,
beautiful.
That's it.
I had it written down. I had it written down as Meeks, and then I've not had the pleasure of chatting with Tamika, so I felt bad for using her nickname when she wasn't here.
Oh no, she wouldn't mind at all. I feel like most people call her Meeks, or Tamika.
Love
whatever. Potato.
When the three of you, because I believe that you met at, I'm going to mispronounce this, Wappa?
Waffa. Very close. It could be Wappa, for all I know. I've only ever heard it as Waffa, but I could be wrong.
I think it might have been the additional extra A that might have thrown me there.
Yeah.
What was the what was the meeting of the three of you like, and how did that kind of happen? And then you landed on starting the band.
Well, so Sass and Meeks actually grew up together as family friends. So, yeah, all our parents are kind of friends now, but when they were kids, they literally have known each other since they were little tiny kids. And then when they graduated, they decided they wanted to go to WAPA in Perth. And I decided that I was going to go to WAPA as well. And then we all met in the same course and became friends. And then one day I was playing, like you have lots of free time to just go and play music or go to a jam room. And I'd become friends with Sass, and I was kind of showing her a song that I had written. And then she looked at me, she was like, do you want to start a band? And I was like, yeah, like why not? Like, let's do it. And then I think later that day we went and found Meeks, and we're like, Meeks, we're starting a band. You got to play the bass. So then Meeks learnt the bass so that she could be in the band. So, yeah, and then what happened from then, I think we have friends in a band called Great Gable, and they had a gig coming up and they asked us to be one of their support acts. So we were just like so excited, didn't really have any music, and then we just worked really hard and just got a set together somehow, probably played like 4 songs. But yeah, the rest kind of stemmed from that.
I love that. It's such like an organic kind of coming together of finding one another in terms of musically doing so.
Yeah.
the sound of the band has evolved since the first few tracks. I think that as I mentioned, I spoke to Sass around 2021 with the first EP, and even from then the sound has evolved. It's kind of I don't want to say changed, but it has just kind of had a progression where it seems like you guys are focusing just as much on production and the sonics of the songs as well as the songwriting. Was that an intentional thing that you found with this newer music, that you were kind of trying to go in a certain direction or try something new?
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of happened like organically as we've like grown as musicians, or our tastes and influences have changed. I definitely feel like that always makes a difference to the music that we create. It's kind of like we're like sponges just soaking up different things, and it's all mixed together into our sound, I guess. But when we first began, we were kind of a bit limited to the instruments that we played and didn't have much of an understanding about production or like using backing tracks or MIDI. Like we just had no idea. But I think as we progressed into going into recording studios and people being like, have you tried like adding extra sounds and stuff? And then eventually we really wanted to try that more and like make our set feel a bit fuller by using backing tracks. And now it's kind of like really stepped into that world of pop. So it's definitely, evolved in that sense.
There has been a lot of attention around these new tracks, and not just this new single. I kind of want to even go back to, when was it, last year? Tell Your Friends, absolute banger. I think in my top 10 most played last year. But then there was also... Serious? Yeah, I love that track.
That is so nice.
But then there was also Test Drive, Sleep It Off, Cold Hard Truth. There seems to be like quite a good succession of like fantastic singles that you're releasing, which I'm curious, and I'm sure everyone has been asking, so I apologize if this is not a new question. Are we working towards something bigger? Is there something like a collection of songs coming from Dulcie at some point?
Well, we've definitely got songs up our sleeve. Like the aim is definitely to do like a bigger body of work, but I guess I'm just working out the logistics of things, because like the producers that we work with are based over East, and we're just all kind of limited a little bit to living in Perth and trying to coordinate everything. But definitely like the aim for this year was kind of to put out a produced single and then a few acoustic songs as well, and then eventually work towards maybe an EP or something like that. But yeah, we definitely wanted there to be a bit more consistency with the rollout of our releases this year. So thank you for coming along for the ride and listening.
No, of course, as I said, gladly, anytime. With all this new music coming out, I'd be curious to kind of go back a little bit, and I know we've been jumping back and forth between topics today. I'd love to know your kind of introduction to songwriting, where, so before WAPA, where it was that you found your interest in writing lyrics and writing melody.
At BlueNile.com, you can find endless ways to make your moments sparkle. From classic and timeless jewelry gifts to creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. And right now, you can save up to 40% on fine jewelry and 25% on engagement ring settings during the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale going on now. Go to BlueNile.com to shop the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale and save up to 40%. That's BlueNile.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Oh, wow. We're going way back here. I grew up in a country town called Dampier in WA, which is a very small place, and there wasn't a lot of music teachers. So my mum decided to become a piano teacher, and she taught my sister and I piano and a few other people from around, and like the way that I was taught was not the traditional way. It was a lot more like improvisation and like not necessarily reading music. It was kind of focused on a bit more of like a creative element to it. And so, yeah, some of the exercises were to like write songs or like learning chords so you can make your own arrangements. And I feel like that kind of set me up for wanting to write my own music. And I actually reckon I have a recording of my first ever song on my phone, which it won't take me long to find, but it's really funny. My mum recorded it for me on my little Casio piano. I'll play you a little snippet. This is going to be really embarrassing.
Incredible.
But this is my first ever song. Can you hear that? It's so funny. That was when I was 9, and it's called Friends, and it's the most wholesome song you'll ever hear.
I absolutely love that. And if I was wearing a hat, this is the point where I would be tipping it to you, Ash. We've had so many, we're coming up to about 300 episodes, and we've spoken to so many artists about their first songs and everything. You were the first artist to ever actually back that up and play it. I commend you so much, so much respect.
I actually found it on my phone the other day. I was like, what? When did this get on my phone? And I was laughing my head off because it has a key change in it. There's just so much going on. It's like so funny. And my mum's put in some sort of drum beat to it, which is just like, but anyway, that really got me into like, as soon as I kind of wrote my first song, I got really into it, and I wrote like lots of different songs, which are just so cringy now. So funny. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I've always loved music, and it's always been something that I've been passionate in. But I guess when we first started the band, we never even thought we'd be able to go on a tour over East. It was kind of just like, we just want to play music. And now it's evolved a bit more into something more serious, which, yeah, we're so lucky and fortunate to be doing this.
Very quickly, before we move on from this topic, just because I would love to know, especially around that era of the recording you just played, do you remember what artists you were listening to, or what bands or singers were kind of influencing you?
Well, I definitely was big into Missy Higgins when I was a kid, like as a singer-songwriter. Me and my friends would always do Missy Higgins songs for like Dance Your Idol, like the singing competitions at school and stuff like that. But other than that, like when I was a kid, I wasn't super into music like I am now. I had an Avril Lavigne CD, which I loved my Avril Lavigne CD, but I don't know, Missy Higgins, Delta Goodrum.
Classic, yeah.
Delta Goodrum. But no, I can't really think of too many off the top of my head. What about you? What are your like early music influences?
Oh, I think it was a combination of, I had like my parents' record collection for like a number of years when I was little. So there was Paul Kelly, there was like old Elvis and Johnny Cash. And then I was weirdly a very big fan of John Mayer and like his first few records.
Oh, amazing.
And then NERD or Pharrell Williams, his hip-hop stuff, which is like vastly different, but yeah. Actually that's unlocked memories for me of listening to like Savage Garden, Ronan Keating in my dad's shed, like all that kind of music. Savage Garden, first CD I bought, so spot on, yeah. Perfect.
Absolute tunes on that. They never get old. Like, also the Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks now, but that was a big musical influence for me. We always used to listen to them when we're going camping and things like that growing up. And now I'm in like a 3-piece harmonic kind of girl group. So look, chase your dreams.
They are touring soon, aren't they? Surely we can put this forward as a getting something going. Surely.
The last time they were in Perth, I got tickets for my sister and my mum. We all went together, and it was the best time ever.
I love that. That is so good.
It really was.
Speaking of Dulcie in a live arena, you guys have been kind of killing it in a live setting. There's I feel like there's been so many tours, gigs. I know that, who have we got? You're on the Spilt Milk lineup, which has come out, which is very exciting.
I'm so excited for that show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You and Posty. How can you say no to a lineup like that?
I'm so excited to see Post Malone. I've never seen him before, but I reckon he's going to be such a cool guy and just great performer. I'm so excited.
He also himself, though, seems to be like a really big fan of like kind of folky pop, like Noah Kahan and Fleet Foxes, and even Angus and Julia Stone, I think he loves. So like I can see him jumping on the Dulcie bandwagon.
There's an artist that I really love called Adam Melcher, and he's worked with Post Malone before, and he's like super indie folk kind of pop music. So yeah, pretty cool.
I'm sure those shows are going to be incredible. I know you've also got, I think there's a date with Teenage Jones. I think that you're making an appearance at South by Southwest. What is your kind of favourite thing about Dulcie in the live capacity and playing shows?
Ooh, there's so much that I love about playing live. It's really special. But as of late, with Off by Heart coming out, we have decided for that song we're going to put aside all our instruments and we're going to do a little dance moment. So
awesome.
That's actually been so much fun. We did it on our last tour, and recently we had a show in Brisbane where we did it, and it was like a flash mob happening. Everybody was joining in. So, yeah, they're really lame dance moves. Like, none of us can dance except Meeks. She's actually really good. But if you see us live, then definitely get ready to dance.
Is Meeks the one who choreographed it?
We all kind of did it. It was a bit of a joke in rehearsal. We were doing it as a joke. And then it just stuck, I guess. So it was a bit of a group effort. I
love that. Anyway, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of group. Oh my gosh.
Participation.
Thank you. Group participation. I mentally blanked. Thank you.
Happens to me all the time.
With the success of Dulcie and touring around the country, could we expect to see you guys possibly venturing outside of Australia at some point and playing shows overseas?
Oh, I would love that so much. I mean, everybody's having a Euro summer this year, so surely Dulcie gets over there next year. But I've always wanted to play like The Great Escape or something like that, or just, I don't know. There's no plans that are set in stone at the moment, but definitely a dream of all of ours would be to travel and play music.
If we can do anything on this podcast, it's simply just manifest. And so we've got
put it out there.
Friends with Posty.
Put out your good vibes.
Exactly. Getting you to play with the Chicks.
Yes.
Yeah, just getting everything out there.
I love it. I was actually just speaking to my neighbour who's so sweet. He's 90 years old, and he always says that he's got like an angel watching over him, a guardian angel. And I was being like, because Coldplay are about to come to Perth and they're putting out this thing for a Perth like, so I was just being like, can you put in a good word to your guardian angel for me, Ray? He's like, I'll have a chat with him tonight, Ashleigh. Don't you worry.
I love that. That's so lovely. And hopefully I'm hoping that the angel does do their job and we see you with Coldplay.
Anybody from Perth. If anybody got it from Perth, well, it is going to be someone from Perth, but it's going to be awesome because it's a crazy opportunity.
I know. It is such who was it? I did see this recently somewhere else, but it is an incredible opportunity. So I've got my fingers and toes crossed for Dulcie. No disrespect to any other Perth act.
Thanks, Simon.
Of course. Ash, we would usually ask our guests what they're currently listening to. Is there anything at the moment that you've got on a high rotation for yourself?
Oh, at the moment, well, this is kind of a bit of a random song for me to really be into. But the other day I was listening to Triple J and an artist called Paris came on who I had never heard of, and she's got a song called Goddess, which is such a vibe. Like, it's very much a hype up kind of song, and I've been slamming that one. But I don't know, my musical taste can just get so random. It'll go from like this hectic song to something slow. Also, Maya, being super into Maya, such a big fan. Yeah, I don't know. That's about it.
Very solid choices. Very different, but very solid choices. So I absolutely love that. Ash, thank you so much for coming onto the pod. I do appreciate it. And congrats on Off by Heart, which is out right now. And we've got links in the show notes so that people can go and find where Dulcie is playing in their city soon and listen to the single. But thank you again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Jen from the I'm So Hard podcast.
Now listen, we don't want to brag, but yes, we are moms. We're average moms.
Below average sometimes.
But we're not just moms.
Yeah, we don't want you to think that we're just moms. And we're not just supermodels either. We're not just pieces of meat.
That's right. We're not even close.
Yeah.
But we are comedians and we're also best friends.
We're also best-selling authors.
And television writers.
We created a viral web series.
With over 300 million views.
Okay,
What's
that's
up?
bragging.
Who's bragging?
That is
And we
bragging,
were in our
actually.
swimsuits. Again, not supermodels.
We're also podcasters.
Are we podcasting right now?
Not right now, but we have been podcasting for 3 years. We're bringing laughs every Tuesday to women and moms everywhere.
And one dude who's a sophomore in college, his name's Greg, whatever, he messaged us and made me feel cool.
So nice. Amazing. Please listen to the I'm So Hard podcast on Acast.
Woo!
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.